fake and a boot to the right. Witten's going out the end zone. Prescott keeps. Pylon. Touchdown. They give the ball to Elliott, and he bangs it out far and through. Touchdown, Cowboys.
A lot of debate this year as to who deserves the NFL MVPs. ESPN put together a panel of 12 experts that took a shot at who the coveted award goes to, with 5 weeks of valuable play still left, of course. Here's how the poll stands as we head into Week 13 tonight. Number 1, Derek Carr. Number 2, Matt Ryan, rounding out the top 3. 1, Tom Brady. 4 is Ezekiel Elliott. And 5, Dak Prescott. Matthew Stafford falls just out of the top 5. Stephen A. Smith. Are Dak and Zeke getting the respect they deserve?
Yes, they are. They're getting the respect they deserve. They were mentioned in the conversation, weren't they? Weren't they mentioned as top 5 MVP candidates, weren't they? What's the problem? I mean, be happy with what the hell you got. You just got onto the scene. You're a rookie. Your breath smell like Similac. You're wet behind the ears. Be happy. If you're the real deal, your time will come. Now, I've been very, very impressed with both of them. I don't want to deny that. I mean, Dak is flat out balling. He's not turning the ball over. 18 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions on the year. A QBR about 83. He's been incredibly impressive. I'm looking at Ezekiel Elliott. He's got nearly 1,199 yards rushing, to be exact, about 4.9 yards per carry, okay? And nobody else is registering that amount of yards per carry when Ezekiel, when Ezekiel Elliott is running the football. So they deserve their respect. But look at Derek Carr, throw that football and look at the numbers that he's put up. Look at the fact that Zach Elliott has only thrown for 300 yards plus twice this season, 2 times in the last 3 weeks to be specific. Look at the fact that Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, and what he's been doing with that Atlanta Falcons offense, particularly that pass and attack. And, of course, Tom Brady. I mean, I've been trying to tell you, missing 4 games but still coming back and doing what he did. There's nothing to talk about here. Zach and Ezekiel Elliott, they are in the top 5. They deserve to be in the top 5 for league MVP, but not necessarily at 1 and 2. I think that's very accurate and appropriate.
It is inappropriate. Dak Prescott is clearly the MVP at this moment. Now look, Derek Carr has been fantastic, so is Matt Ryan, so is Matthew Stafford, if we're honest about it. Tom Brady has no business in this conversation. No. He has as many losses as the number 2 and 3 quarterbacks on the team combined, and the loss came from the 3rd stringer, not the 2nd stringer. Okay, his one-loss percentage is much worse, actually, than the 2nd string quarterback on his same team. And having missed 4 games, which is at this point a third of the season, he better be so much better than everyone else, like Dak, for instance, that it's not even close. Otherwise, how do you make up that value? Oh, but wait a minute. Who's leading the league in QBR at this moment? Dak Prescott. So on a per-game basis, he is outplaying Tom Brady according to the most sophisticated metric we have. It's not perfect, but it's better than all the others. On a per-game basis, he's outplaying him, and he's played 4 more games. Now, Dak has 2 things going against him. 1, he's a rookie. So, and you hate on him because he's a rookie. You just did it earlier. Oh, he'll have plenty of time. These other guys have paid their dues. And 2, he's playing behind a great offensive line with a great running back. And because they're run-heavy, people say, well, that's the reason he's doing so well. And then cite things like how many times has he thrown for over 300 yards? It's because of the running back. What Dak is like Tom Brady is a young player, playing on an excellent team, not making mistakes, big on 3rd down, and clutch when you need him. The highest QBR, has played on every game. His team has the best record, and you're going to hold it against him because he has good teammates and because he's a rookie. But he's the MVP right now.
First of all, Max Kellerman, you said Zach had the highest QBR. That's around 83, right?
84. Right? I think Brady's at 83 right now, and he's at 84.
Yeah.
But he's 83,
I think that if the computer here is wrong, I apologize, but it says that Tom Brady, his QBR is at 89. I just want to point that out.
Excuse me a second. Sabino! Sorry, nothing.
I think it's 89. That's number 1. That's number 1. Tom Brady has missed 4 games, right?
Correct.
Did you say 4 games?
Yes.
4 games, the Deflategate, the suspension. I mean, I might not remember that. Are you sure? Is it 4 games? I mean, it's 4, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
4 games.
In a season
missed, right?
with 16 of them, in which
Right,
only,
right.
what, now for the Cowboys, 11
I'm
have been
asking
played?
could you just answer my question yes
Go
or
ahead.
no when I ask you a question instead of one of your soliloquies? Did he miss 4 games, yes or no? It's 4 games,
He
right?
did, yes.
But he has just the same amount of touchdown passes as Dak. 18 touchdowns. Just 1 interceptions, by the way. Higher QBR. And by the way, he don't have Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield or that offensive line.
He's not playing on a good team, Tom Brady,
you
right?
can sit up, you can sit up there and say what you want to say, but I'm just breaking it down to you,
right
baby.
now. Tom Brady has an 85 and Dak has an 86.
It says 89. I'm just telling y'all right here. It says 85.
I'm just checking
ESPN
the site called ESPN.com.
ESPN Research and Molly got it at 86 to 85.
Okay.
And you know what that does?
Pro
That
Football
factors
Reference is
in-
wrong.
That
Pro
factors-
Football Reference is wrong.
That
Okay,
factors
that's all.
in.
Go with the
Stephen A.
worldwide leader.
QBR factors in the touchdowns and the interceptions and all that.
Listen, I know America might find this hard to believe, but I actually choose to use the eye test more than Beetlejuice himself, Matt Kellerman. I don't understand it. I really can't get over that. I don't understand for the life of me why this man won't use the eyes that boy has on
You know
his
what it
face.
feels like?
I don't get it.
You know what it
But
feels
it
like?
is what it is. I'm just telling
You
you,
know what
man.
it feels
It's the
like to
same
be
amount of
called
touchdown
Beetlejuice
QBR
on
the whole thing.
television by George Jefferson?
Oh.
You know what? I'm almost 50 though, bro. I'm not
What's my
mad about it.
excuse?
I'm good.
What's
I'm
my
good.
excuse?
I'm
Is
good.
that the idea?
What's your excuse? That's
That's
what
good.
it is. That's what it is.
It's a good-
All
it's a
right,
good
but
point.
here's the deal.
All right.
89, same amount of touchdowns. The man's won. He's lost us the game. I'm not worried about it. Zeke and Dak are right where they're supposed to be.
Okay, George,
Period.
let's move on. And Beetlejuice, we won't talk about your former MVP candidate.
No, that
but we
can't
are
stick.
gonna-
That
we are
can't
gonna talk
stick.
about- They're both
I'll do
gonna
the funky
stick.
chicken if you want me to, George Jefferson. Don't get me get started.
What that means. Week 13 in the NFL kicks off tonight. Dak Prescott and his 4th-ranked offense is taking on the Vikings and their 3rd-ranked defense. So what will give Dallas favored by 3? And it is still uncertain if Mike Zimmer, who had emergency eye surgery, will coach in that game. I apologize there. I thought we had a little bit of sound, but we don't. Stephen A., let's get right into it. Will this game tell us anything about Dallas?
No. It's not going to tell us anything about the Dallas Cowboys. What is it going to tell us? I mean, the Vikings have an elite defense. We all know that. Xavier Rhodes is a bad boy, a corner that I think needs to be recognized as being one of the great corners in the game today. But offensively, what do they have? There's no Adrian Peterson. That means there's no rushing attack whatsoever. They only average like 1.5 yards per carry before contact, for crying out loud. This is the worst in the NFL. Stephon Diggs ain't 100% healthy. Kyle Rudolph looks slower than ever before. I don't even know who their number 2 receiver is. They've lost a couple of offensive linemen all year long. They're depleted at that particular position, so they can't run block. They can barely protect the passer. It's just that Sam Bradford gets rid of the ball quicker. I mean, what are we going to learn about the Dallas Cowboys here? That they can beat up on a depleted team? I mean, that's about all that you're going to learn. That their offensive line can, plug holes or push holes as wide as Broadway on a Sunday morning. I mean, what are we going to say? It's really nothing to say right now. I don't expect, nor do I anticipate, to learn absolutely anything whatsoever from the Dallas Cowboys in this particular game. As far as I'm concerned, Minnesota is depleted. Minnesota is not fully loaded. As a result, they're not the same team they were earlier on in the season. As a result, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, is going to get away with having a basic gimme because the Vikings are only half a team right now. I don't anticipate we'll learn anything. Nothing at all.
Are you quite done? Look.
Yes.
Look. What do I always say? In the NFL, only the Patriots are actually a good team at all points in the season. Right? I mean, most teams, the character of the team, even the good ones, changes throughout the course of the season. Sometimes they wear down through attrition and injury and other teams figuring them out. Sometimes they get better as their offensive line gels and they evolve greater chemistry with each other and all those kind of things. But the Cowboys have forced their way into that kind of Patriots conversation this year, just this year, where they have been good all year long, really good, and getting better. And yet, when you look at the record, they've only played 3 playoff teams. They've had a soft schedule. 3 playoff teams. Washington, the Giants, and the Ravens. And those aren't like
Giants?
3. Yeah.
When did the Giants become a playoff team?
If the season were to end today, those 3 teams would be in the playoffs. That's what I mean. That's what I mean about playoffs.
What they're doing this year.
Right,
I thought you were talking about. I apologize. I thought you were talking about recent history.
I didn't say 2-time Super Bowl champions. Then in recent history, that would be the Giants. I just said teams that would be in the playoffs right now. And those are not world beater teams. Let's be honest. And yet, the Giants actually have the best record of those 3 teams. And they actually beat the Cowboys. The one playoff team, if the season ended today, that the Cowboys played with the best record actually beat them. So even the good teams, even the Cowboys, you are constantly looking for evidence throughout the course of the season that they're actually good. And you're right about everything you said about the Minnesota offense. But the defense has been good all year, and it's never been less than good. And it's been great early in the year. There have been times this season where it looked special. And Minnesota's tough to beat at home. So if the Cowboys roll into Minnesota and they're the favorites to win, and they do win on the road against a good defensive team who's tough to play on the road, it gives you more evidence that they're actually an excellent team, maybe the best team in football, Stephen A. Smith. The Patriots haven't looked as good as they did earlier in the season recently either. They might be the best team in football. This would be more evidence.
Well, a couple of things. As an aside, away from football, it's hard to look through the screen and see and visualize you in all your glory. I'm not sure I like that haircut on you. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
The point I always get.
I don't know. I don't know. It's like a crew cut from the 80s. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Let's get back to the football issue.
Got a lot of nerds talking about someone's hair. Go ahead.
You got the Dallas Cowboys, all right? Now, this is a team that's ranked 31st against the pass, Max. Yep. 31st against the pass. Here's the problem with that. Minnesota, that's the last thing you expect them to be able to do any damage with because, again, you don't have a run attack, you don't have a great offensive line, and you don't have, quote-unquote, great receivers, even though I like Stephon Diggs a lot. I'm wondering about his health. So because of that, I certainly don't expect anything from you from your running game. The combination of the two, if the Vikings are to have any chance in this game whatsoever, it's the fact that people believe they're playing with house money because they're just not that good offensively. And as a result, minimal expectations. And because of those minimal expectations, they can turn around and play lights out and shock everybody else and catch the Dallas Cowboys sleeping. But I'm assuming that even though I'm disgusted with their fan base and I can't stand them, that the Cowboys themselves are not stupid or ignorant enough or arrogant enough to believe that they get to sit up there and take a pass and act like they've arrived when they haven't done anything in almost 22 years.
Look,
I'm assuming they'll be ready.
If you win 11 straight games in the NFL, you're really good. And that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're fixing to do, Stephen A. Smith. They're field goal favorites on the road. That's pretty solid. If you win 11 straight games, no mess-ups, no by chance the other team gets lucky and win, no sleeping on anyone, no quote-unquote trap games, you're really good. Any team that goes into Minnesota, I don't care how depleted the offense is, and beats the Vikings at Minnesota, that's a hell of a team. And that's these Cowboys, man. It's going to be, we both expect them to win. It's just, we expect them to win because we know they're good. I hate to say it, but it's true.
I don't want to hear from you anymore. I damn near don't want to hear from Molly because I can only imagine what she's going to say. But I'll say this. Go ahead, Molly. You want to sit up there and rave and throw on the pom-poms and rave about the Cowboys too?
I just wanted to know. I actually think the Vikings have a shot. This is potentially the toughest defense they've faced. Only the Ravens has a higher rated defense right now in terms of who they faced. This defense is legit.
Boy, I hope y'all are right, but I sincerely doubt it. I hope y'all are right, but I sincerely doubt it. This is one time I wish I wasn't right because I usually
always assuming the worst of us.
If they had Adrian Peterson, they'd have a better shot.
That's true. Well, you really went out on a limb there, Max. You really did. Hey.